This is the Sunday race, June 6th, Lake Hefner, race 1. This is two J24s, RetroGirl and 42. Before we get into the race itself, take a look at the course. You can tell by looking at it, there's a significant skew on the run to the right-hand side, with some skew to the left on the mark, and a significant boat bias. Actually, when measured out, the difference between the starts is about a 14-meter advantage to starting at the boat compared to starting in the middle of the line. Okay, conditions were, I believe they were about 8 to 14 with gusts to 16 and dropping a little bit. Both boats were running jibs due to crewing issues. Okay, so let's go to the start here. Speed it up. Right there. 42 misjudges, starts middle of the line. RetroGirl setting up very nicely on the boat. At this point, as 42 is going across the line, there's about 12 meters difference between the two boats. RetroGirl's really kind of doing a second tier start directly at the boat. But notice that as soon as she tacks, she's in the lead. 42 stays on the header a little bit longer, then tacks over, and notice tacks into a header here. RetroGirl comes over, is set to cross, 42 tacks ahead of the leeward. Is hanging but is compressing this distance right here. This distance at the tack was about 45 meters. But notice the gift of the lift right there. 42 makes up everything right there. RetroGirl's strategic error at this position was going all the way out to the ley line. Had she tacked more on 42's line, this probably would not have worked out the same way. Okay, very close. I believe the distance at the mark was about 11 meters. Both boats delay the jibe. With that right-hand phase, the thing to do would have been to jibe as quickly as possible and get onto the headed tack. Boat speeds are very, very consistent. The deciding factor is going to be right down here. Notice the roundings. 42 gets up. RetroGirl stays down. She gives up about 12 meters right here. She was 6 behind at the mark, and then struggles to get her boat speed back up. Tail light. A little bit of knock there. And strategically, going all the way out to the ley line is a bit of an error, although it paid off here because there was no significant shift. Um, Normally, you would want to tack probably closer in here. That way could take advantage of any shift that occurred later up the leg. Going out to the lay lines is a high risk, high reward move. 42 is a little bit down right here. Notice the difference in boat speeds. That was everything on this leg. A little bit of a lift. And that's the race. Quick measure of the distance between the two boats. Call it 140 meters. Good portion of that came out of boat speed because RetroGirl's positioning was much better. Another quick look. Oops. We'll play the race real quick. Again, this is speed, with red being RetroGirl, yellow being 42, and this is angle to the wind. This up a bit. You can see 42 higher average speeds. Upwind, 42 averaged about 4/10 of a knot more than Retro. Look down here. 42 is also sailing a little bit fatter. Downwind, speeds are consistent, angles consistent. Angle's very consistent here on the second beat, with the differences in speeds. Area here, downwinds. Notice coming around the mark, the big jump, big dip in boat speed right there, but recovered. Again, notice 42. Deliberately putting the nose down quite often to keep the speeds up. Don't know why, but there we go. You can see right there, really diving down almost 60 degrees off the breeze to get those boat speeds up when RetroGirl is bleeding a lot of boat speed. It's the gear shifting right there that's making a big difference. Okay, that's the race.